Loser, you're back, and today it's finally time. The official NFL wildcard predictions. All in one place, all in one video. If you want to see detailed breakdowns of one individual game, in-depth specifics, go check out the series. 6 videos already posted on the channel, all 6 games. Smash the like and subscribe button, boys. It's been a hell of a season. We predicted every single week of the regular season without missing a single week. We went flawless one week of a full 16-0 record of getting the money lines correct. Now we head into the wild card. The wild card football hits different, boys. Playoff football. Let me break down what I got. We have the schedule. Game 1. Game 1 of the playoffs. Saturday, 4:30 p.m. First off, we got some college football heading us in. Thursday, we got Penn State, Notre Dame. Friday, we got Ohio State. Going to be a solid week of sports, baby. Now, Saturday, 4:30. Chargers at Texans. The Chargers, they're a good AFC team, man. And the Texans, they started off strong. People thought the Texans, they would be the best offense in the AFC or even the league this season. Well, clearly that didn't work out as people thought, especially me. I had the Texans as a Super Bowl team, but without an offensive line, that's what it really feels. I feel like it comes down to one thing. They can't protect C.J. Stroud. They couldn't protect him. Nico Collins had an injury which derailed them. Now they have no Tank Dell, and maybe they were starting to figure something out. It really just hasn't looked good for this Houston Texans team as of late. I mean, yes, they bounced back and beat the Titans with second stringers. It's not impressive. They destroyed themselves. They didn't destroy anybody. They destroyed themselves on Christmas Day in front of the world. 31-2 at home. Yes, the Texans have a home matchup right here, but the Ravens came to Houston and made it now a Baltimore home field advantage. So unless the Chargers are playing the Ravens here in Houston, then I don't know, there might be a bit of a problem. The Texans, they had 2 playoff games already. The Texans played the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Test number 1. Failed. 27-19, and Tank Dell was a casualty. RIP, get better soon. Ravens, Texans. Test number 2. Playoff game number 2. Test failed. The Texans lost by 29 and scored 2 points on a safety. The Texans offense scored 0. The Chargers were trash. Trash without J.K. Dobbins. The Chargers' mindset is this: get the lead, run the ball, chew the clock, play good defense. You know how you do that? You do that with J.K. Dobbins, who can help you put up points. J.K. Dobbins was recently injured with an MCL injury. In the games without J.K. Dobbins, they lost 30-23. He got injured against the Ravens. The Ravens won 30-23. I think with J.K. Dobbins, they could have won. They then beat the Falcons 17-13, only scoring 17. They then scored 17 against the Chiefs without J.K. Dobbins. They scored 17 again. They scored 34 against the Broncos. Okay, a bit of an outlier. So really, they were scoring about 17 points per game without J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins comes back. They drop 40 on the Patriots' head. They drop 34 on the Raiders' head. And with J.K. Dobbins and this Chargers backfield, they're a whole new ball club. Especially with Ladd McConkey being able to work the middle of the field, the big Q, Quentin Johnson being able to be that deep threat. Herbert has looked good, and the Chargers defense also is solid as well. The Chargers, I'm looking at the spread right now. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites, and they're minus 162 money line on FanDuel. I'm liking the Chargers, man. I feel like they should be the dogs. Somehow they're favored going on the road. I understand why they're favored. In my mind, they better have that dog mindset. Don't get fooled. Give me the Chargers on the road. That's the first prediction. Steelers, Ravens, second prediction. Now, the Ravens are currently 9.5. It hurts my brain. 9.5-point favorites. It hurts my brain because it's embarrassing. Embarrassing, and maybe we're going to see it, at this point, the George Pickens temper tantrums are becoming a bit too classic. I mean, really, without George Pickens, the Steelers just crumbled very, very bad in their most recent loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. And they need to have George Pickens be that deep threat down the field. It seems like the Steelers' offense, they're run first. We know that with Arthur Smith. But they need that play-action deep threat. It was Freiermuth against the Bengals, but that wasn't enough. He had a late drop, tough. The Bengals' defense is good. We know that. The Bengals' defense has been a little bit worse in the end of the season, which is concerning. However, we know TJ Watt can eventually get it done. Now, what I'm about to do is I'm about to reveal the last time these two teams played. The last time these two teams played, I'm trying to pull up what the score was. I believe it was 31-24. Or no, sorry, it wasn't that. It was, let me see, 34-17. This game was in Baltimore. Exactly what we're seeing. 34-17, the Ravens won. And it wasn't close. It wasn't close. Now, Pickens wasn't there. Pickens was injured, being a diva. I mean, Pickens, what is happening with the Steelers wide receiver core, man? It's not good. Now, no Justin Tucker. And I'm saying no Justin Tucker because he's been very unreliable as of late. That is a bit of a concern here. But I think that Lamar Jackson, considering Lamar Jackson potentially, I think Lamar Jackson should be 50-50 with Josh Allen in the MVP race. I understand why Josh Allen is first, but Lamar Jackson's a defending MVP. He's done so much with his arm. It's not even about scrambling anymore. He's a passing quarterback. He's proven that. So I think that Lamar Jackson should be a bit more in the MVP running than he is currently. And with that said, I think the Ravens win this game. I mean, the Ravens' offense is star-studded. As long as Zay Flowers is not injured and he's healthy to go, I don't see a reason how the Ravens lose this one right here. Now, the Ravens' money line is minus 480, so it's not going to get you anything much, but give me the Ravens at home. Another game where we have a bit of a favorite. The Broncos head to play the Bills. Now, the Denver Broncos, Bo Nix started off the season not good. He was a check-down king, and the Broncos looked awful. There was a point midseason when I decided to start Courtland Sutton in fantasy. And the week I started in, he had 0.0 points. That's right, 0.0. And then ever since then, I believe he's averaged like 20 fantasy points a game. And he is their number one. The connection is good. If you're doing a dynasty league, consider Courtland Sutton. If you're doing a redraft league, somehow Courtland Sutton's going to be like a top maybe a fourth round guy next year. Maybe like a borderline wide receiver too. So Courtland Sutton is looking like an alpha receiver in this Broncos offense. The rookie Vele, he also looks good. The running game with Estime and Javonte Williams. The Broncos are a good team, and especially what's important here is the Broncos defense. The Broncos defense will be the reason they either win or lose any game they play. Looking at how their defense has performed later in the season, it's been a bit concerning, which is kind of concerning for me. They gave up 32 to the Browns. They held the Colts to 13, which is very good. Then they gave up 34 to the Chargers and 30 to the Bengals in overtime. The Broncos defense needs to hold Josh Allen to sub 24 points to give them a chance to win. Because realistically, the Broncos, I don't see the Broncos scoring, I don't see them scoring 30 plus right here. And, the Broncos, they have a tough matchup going to cold Buffalo. Doesn't seem like there's going to be snow. What am I saying? Rain. Doesn't seem like there's going to be snow in the cards for this game. Kind of a disappointment if you ask me. Two cold weather teams right here. You would have loved to have seen it. Josh Allen is the MVP candidate lead for a reason. James Cook is good. Amari Cooper's that deep threat that they needed. Good piece addition they got during the middle of the season. The Bills are favored in this game, and sadly, we're not picking the dogs here. We're going with the Bills money line, 8.5 point spread. Now we have a game where things are a little bit closer. Packers versus Eagles. Now the Packers and the Eagles, they played each other week 1 of the NFL season. That's right, week 1, they played in Brazil to kick the season off, and it was a pretty good game, man. Saquon Barkley had 3 rushing touchdowns in that game. So can Saquon Barkley have 3 touchdowns again? It's possible. The Eagles won 34-29, and what's funny about it is that Jordan Love left that game injured, and he missed a couple games as a result of like a Hail Mary on the fourth quarter final play. And what's coincidental is he's coming into this game a little bit banged up. There was a bit of an injury concern about his throwing arm elbow, so that's a bit of a concern. Oh, and also Christian Watson he's done. Carded, knee injury. I'm not expecting Watson to play. We don't have official news, but it's not looking good. The thing that sets these teams, there's a couple caveats to this game. The Packers don't have an alpha receiver. Now, everyone that says, oh, Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs has stepped up in certain games, hot and cold. He's had like 9 target games where he's had 3 touchdowns. I mean, yes, he has been the alpha in certain games. Jaden Reed, I wouldn't call him an alpha. I would more call him explosive. He has the chance to be a game changer. But he's not going to be commanding a heavy target share. Guys like Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Puka Nacua, those are guys where they're going to, you can safely say they're getting 7 targets this game. And it's as simple as that. They're going to have 7 targets, at least 70 yards, or it was a terrible day. The Packers don't have that. The Eagles do. But the caveat with the Eagles is the Eagles' passing game hasn't looked good, man. Their whole offense really has relied on Saquon Barkley being able to be their offense. Jalen Hurts, he's coming back from a concussion. And the Eagles' passing offense looked better with Kenny Pickett. A.J. Brown had better stats with Kenny Pickett than with Jalen Hurts. It's a bit concerning. I'm not going to be honest. I'm not going to lie. But Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are good receivers. Dallas Goedert's finally back and healthy. We saw him in New York. It's about time. It's time for the Eagles to get a victory in the playoffs. We all want to see Eagles-Lions in the NFC Conference Championship. Eagles are only 4.5-point favorites. Okay, they opened as 2.5, I believe. Now the Eagles are minus 215 money line. Eagles minus 1.5 might be a pretty solid bet to throw in a parlay. That's my prediction. Commanders at Buccaneers. We got 2 games left, boys. The Washington Commanders are dogs on the road. And I believe these two teams played each other week 1 of the NFL season. And they did. You know how I know that? Well, I know that because guess what? Jaden Daniels had 0 passing touchdowns that game. But he did have 2 rushing touchdowns. Very, very interesting. So Jaden Daniels had 2 rushing touchdowns, and he actually was pretty good passing as well. He had a high completion percentage, about 160 passing yards, I believe. Baker Mayfield had 4 passing touchdowns. Mike Evans had two receiving touchdowns. Bucky Irving had a good game in his first game as a rookie. It was a very high-scoring affair in their first matchup, but the Buccaneers still won by 2 possessions. So the Buccaneers won this first matchup. It was a welcome to the NFL moment for the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels, but ever since then it was uphill. Daniels had a bit of a rib injury, I think, against the Ravens, and then he's kind of been fluky, streaky, kind of up and down, hot and cold, and kind of clutch in the late minutes of these games, winning games that are close. We don't know what version we're going to get, but we do know that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their secondary, it's not great. The Buccaneers have corners that can be beat, and the Commanders are a team that can burn you deep and stretch it out and put up a lot of points. The Buccaneers, they're geared to win shootouts, and I think we're going to have a shootout on our hands. Vegas agrees. This is the highest over-under game of the week with a line set at 50.5. And so Vegas thinks we're going to have a high-scoring affair right here, and I agree. I think the Commanders on the road beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to be very, very close. I think this is going to be the game that can kind of flip the odds of your parlay in a positive manner, being that the Commanders are plus 158. So, I mean, who's riding with me, man? Comment down below. Jaden Daniels rushed for 90 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and, I think that he's definitely developed a lot since then. Him and McLaurin have a huge connection now. They'll be able to stretch the field deep. Yes, Mike Evans is going to probably have 150 receiving yards this game. It's as simple as that. But we know going in it's going to be a shootout. That's my thinking. I think the Commanders win. Give me the dogs. Hoo, hoo, hoo. I can't bark, man. I'm out of breath from doing this video. No cap. Final game of the week. Vikings. Rams. And I'm going to have to bark again, man. Because the Rams are 2.5-point dogs. DAWGS at home. 2.5-point underdogs. The Vikings just lost by 22 to the Lions. Embarrassing. The Vikings also have had a couple pretty close games to close out the season. Now, Justin Jefferson revenge game is probably incoming. And I say revenge game because, he had 9 targets and 3 catches. He's pissed. He almost fumbled. He's not a happy camper. I expect Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. Jefferson's going to have a big game right here against the Rams. These two teams played. The Rams beat the Vikings 30-20 on Thursday Night Football in the NFL season sometime in November. It was Puka Nakua's first game back from an MCL injury. He was on a limited snap share, and he had 7 catches for 110 yards on a limited snap share. That's right. Jefferson also had 8 catches for 120 yards. So both of the alpha receivers stepped up. This could be a shootout as well. Looking at the over-under, man, Vegas has this as over-under 47.5. It's a tough game to predict. The Vikings are also kind of streaky, like the Washington Commanders, and a lot of that does come back to the quarterback position being kind of hard to predict. I'm a lot more confident saying that Matthew Stafford can have a good game here compared to Scam Darnold. Yes, the Vikings are 14-3 and the Rams are 10-7, but I think that the Rams, the one thing they have to do to win this game, the Vikings put pressure on Jared Goff, and yes, it was effective for a bit, but Jared Goff responded. If the Vikings pressure Stafford enough, I think he'll break. I'm not going to lie. Like, the Rams O-line's worse. The Rams O-line is worse than the Lions. It's not good if he gets sacked. But if the Rams can keep Stafford protected, then they're not going to stop Nakua and Kupp from decimating this Vikings secondary. And with that said, deep breath. The barking is bad, bro. Like, I got to work on it. It'll be better for the division round, I promise. I will be taking the dogs again, I'm sure. Give me the dogs. Give me the Los Angeles Rams at home. Underdogs to beat the Vikings, and that'll close out the wild card weekend predictions. Long video. Show some support. Like and subscribe. Let's have a good week, baby.